I was a young legislator, shortly after Earth Day, I guess. But the guy in the legislature who sponsored, I guess, most of the environmental legislation and a close tie with environmental leaders in the state. And the big issue, among others, was we didn't have a department then. We had a Department of Conservation and Economic Development. And economic development side always won, just because they were economic development. So the environmental side, conservation side in those days felt very badly about it. And so we had a gubernatorial election coming up. So I met, I think, with you, Dave, and I think with a fellow called McLaughlin, who was then head of the Audubon Society, you two, and said, what are your priorities? What would you really like to happen in this in this election as far as the environmental side? I said, well, we've got a number of priorities, and you gave me a list, I guess. But the number one priority was, can we get a Department of Environmental Protection? And how can we do it? And I said, well, in my political experience, the people who do the best are people like the New Jersey Education Association. And what they do is they send the legislators questionnaires, and then they tell the candidates that all our members are going to see this questionnaire, and if you don't agree with them, we'll vote for somebody else. So Dave said, well, we haven't got that many members, but I think he'd said, well, I'll find a way to get it out to the members if we send the candidates a questionnaire. And we all consider we haven't got money to send anything out, but I'll post it. Someone's going to post it somewhere where Audubon came and looked at it. And so we helped write the questionnaire. You sat down, Frank and I wrote the first question was, will you favor the creation of a Department of Environmental Protection? So we sent it to the two candidates. Bob Minor was running again for governor, and Bill Cahill. And we sent it out. I sent it out, I guess, in the spring. Nothing happened. Not a word. And it just sort of vanished into clean air. And so then it was October. Election was coming up in November. It was October. And I get a call from a young man who said he was working in the Cahill campaign. And he said, all of a sudden the congressman, he's a congressman then, has decided he's got to answer some of these questionnaires. Now, we got one for these environmentalists. You're the only one we know who knows anything about the environment. Would you answer it for us? So I said, well, send it to me. So I get our questionnaire back. And, of course, check, boom, 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 all the good environmental stuff, and send it back in. I don't think Cahill read it, because it went right back in the way I'd filled it out to you and to the environmental community. So, okay. Then Cahill wins the election. I'm the new, I guess, majority leader in the assembly. So I go in to the governor fairly early in the term and say, I would like to sponsor the bill to create the Department of Environmental Protection. He said, I'm not sure that I can, as a Republican, I want to expand the bureaucracy the first thing I do. And I said, Governor, my memory is that I think you were for that in the campaign. There may have been a questionnaire or something. And he said, really? And he goes, I said, yeah. I said, I committed to that. And I said, fine. And so we put together the bill. So, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong at any point, but I think that was how the department got created. All of you have been commissioners. That's how we got a department. This is how politics works.
I think you're right.